I thought I might as well do this kind of just audio only, quick rundown, I suppose. Well, let's see how long this will last, of the results of WrestleMania 36. I'm not going to go hugely in depth with the matches here, hopefully, but I thought I'd run down the match results from WrestleMania, both night 1 and night 2. So part 1, which obviously was shown on Saturday, all pre-recorded as we all know. There was 9 matches in total for part 1 and also 9 matches for part 2. So that is a combination of 18 matches across WrestleMania. Not too bad in terms of the timings of WrestleMania. Each night lasted 3 hours, which I thought was enough. I think part 2 or night 2 lasted about 3 hours and about 20 minutes. A slight overrun there, a couple of long matches, and I will give the timings for these matches as we go on. But I think it was actually, if WWE did this in normal situations, I think people would be pretty happy with the way that they carried out. We didn't get 2 nights of like 2 like 5-6 hour nights. The kickoff shows lasted an hour each on each night, so running down what matches were taking place or being shown really on that night, and I can't really pick up the presentation. If WWE did it this way in the future, I would honestly be very happy. So let's get to the matches. The pre-show match for night 1 on Saturday was Cesaro defeating Drew Gulak. That was an okay, great technical match. 4 minutes 25 seconds. Cesaro defeated Drew Gulak. Don't have really much thoughts on this one. Was kind of watching it, kind of prepping food at that point when that match took place. The single matches on each pre-show night happened roughly halfway through the pre-show. So it was a decent match. The first match of the actual WrestleMania, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross defeated the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, to retain to win, in fact, the women's tag team championships. I really enjoyed this one. I can't remember who I picked for the Cesaro Drew Gulak match. I'm not really caring too much on my predictions. I did pick Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross to win this. I thought for her first WrestleMania, Nikki did really well. She was the one that kept bouncing back and kept the fight going for her team. I'm sure Alexa Bliss got the pinfall to win the titles, but Nikki put on a really good performance. I've followed Nikki Cross for many years. She's really good. As I've said before, some people are just a level above, even on like the local independent scene. You can tell that they've got something. So this is a really good performance from Nikki. The commentators picked it out as well. I don't know whether that was something set for them to say, but Nikki can be very happy with what she did. A decent match, 15 minutes 5 seconds. That was a really enjoyable match. I really enjoyed it. Maybe because I was pulling for Nikki and Alexa to win. I think, and I'm really happy that the first Scottish representative won on night 1, and obviously night 2 I'll get to. But I enjoyed that match. Elias defeated King Corbin in a match lasting 9 minutes. Quickly glance over this one. This one was not. I don't really particularly care about King Corbin, and Elias is, especially with not having the UK channels that Raw and SmackDown are on. The times I've seen Elias, it's been music, and we've not really seen a lot of wrestling out of him on TV. Likely got them in. I think I picked him in the predictions just to have his moment to shine, because out of a lot of the big pay-per-views he gets beat up, like I think I said in the prediction video, by The Undertaker. So it's a decent that Elias won it. I don't think we've seen the last from this feud. But as I said, thought it was a little bit silly to have Elias pushed off the stairway or the podium thing, and then just a little while later be ready for WrestleMania, where he should have been quite seriously injured. But anyway, Becky Lynch defeated Shayna Baszler to retain the Raw Women's Championship. This was a bit of a missed opportunity, I think. I think the two had a good match. I think it was a solid match. I enjoyed it, but I thought Shayna Baszler should have perhaps won this. As I said in the predictions, to have somebody else take the title. I know, again, Becky Lynch is one of the people who is really heavily amongst the promoted female superstars, but I think WWE kind of missed opportunities in the women's division on WrestleMania this year. Should I think Shayna Baszler should have won it. Sami Zayn with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura defended the Intercontinental Championship against Daniel Bryan, who was accompanied by Drew Gulak. This was a decent match. Cesaro and Shinsuke obviously running interference in this one took a little bit away from it. I kind of didn't like this. I was kind of hoping this would be more of a pure wrestling match. Oh, by the way, that Becky Lynch match was 8 minutes 30 seconds. This 9 minutes 20-second Intercontinental Championship match, I was looking for it to be more of a just solid one-on-one wrestling match that the guys would get in there and kind of old style Ring of Honor wrestle each other. But Sami was obviously doing the heel thing of running away a lot from Daniel Bryan. I thought that once they got into it, it was good, but I would have liked to have seen it just single one-on-one. A little bit, I think, too much interference, obviously, with this one. I would like to have seen them just be singles. Even, Cesaro and Shinsuke and Drew, all, maybe getting a lot of, maybe it would have happened at one point, them all getting thrown out of the ringside area and being forced to go to the back. Obviously didn't happen, which is a little bit of a pity, but hopefully they'll have another match in this feud. John Morrison defeated Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston to retain the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. This was a match that was changed after my predictions. We heard rumours and reports that The Miz wasn't in fact used during the WrestleMania tapings. They said that he came down with a bit of an injury. This was another one that was kind of, again, very unusual situation. In this one, a triple threat match, a singles triple threat match for a tag team championship. I think there's obviously very few matches for the tag team championships have been done in singles. This was a decent. There was a lot of the stereotypical ladder athleticism on this match. It was a solid showing, though. I think I liked the ending, though. I still have to say, I said I'm not getting too much into this match. It did last quite a bit, according to Wikipedia, 18 minutes and 30 seconds. So this match was given time to breathe, and I think can benefit from. I think maybe a little bit, couple of minutes, maybe too long, slightly. But not going into it, I liked the ending, though. I really did. All three men climbing the ladder, grabbing that hook plate. I don't know what to call it, but the plate that the belts were hung upon, and then bringing it all down, and literally all three of them had their hands on it. I like that. Sometimes that we've seen that happen in Impact Wrestling with the X division. I think there was one match where the X kept falling off, and I think sure there was one ladder match as well in that company where the belt came off once. I think maybe it was Alex Shelley in the Motor City Machine Guns tag team match, maybe. But I like where the it was on that was not supposed to happen. This was obviously supposed to happen, but I like the way they did it with all three men actually having their hands on the hook, and then John Morrison falling off and falling onto a ladder. I believe, right. with the belts falling out. That was I'm going to have to look at that again, and I'm going to try and I don't think you can on the network, but try to look at it again and try and see how they did that, because that was great. I mean, if Morrison had fallen back and the championships were still the on the hook, what would they have done? Don't know, but it worked really well. It was good. I thought initially maybe they were going to declare it a draw, so maybe all teams for the moment would be tag team champions. The New Day, the Usos, and Morrison and Miz. I don't know whether we've got any idea how serious Miz's injury is, or whether that storyline thing, but certainly I really liked the ending to that match. Morrison just escaping literally physically with the championship belts in his hands. As I said, onto the ladder, I believe it was, and then onto the mat, and obviously retaining for himself and the Miz. So I really liked the ending for that one. It was unique, certainly. Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins in the no DQ match. This it's got on Wikipedia just one single match, but obviously I think I was technically right. Actually, I was right on the tag team championship match, because I picked Miz and Morrison. I wanted to win. Seth Rollins, I believe, won the first. Originally Kevin Owens defeated Seth Rollins by disqualification. But Owens restarted the match as a no disqualification match. I'm getting that wrong. I'm looking, there is notes actually you're saying about. I don't know why they've just got one match and the other match in the notes. It shouldn't be. But this was a decent match. I mean, I think one of the moments of WrestleMania 36 that we talked about was Kevin Owens doing that dive off the set down through that table onto Seth Rollins, who, I mean, you could literally hear the screams. The audio for WrestleMania was unusual. Even in the replays, you could hear Michael Cole do the commentary. If you listen, I was listening through it, listening to it through my headphones. But if you listen back, I don't know how obvious it was if you were just watching through a TV, but you could hear. I'm pretty sure that it was fairly obvious. But if you listen to it through earphones, you could hear Michael Cole do the commentary when you were looking through at the replays. You could hear Michael Cole in the background doing that bit of commentary for whatever it was being replayed, and obviously that area, the dive that Kevin Owens did on Seth Rollins, you said you could hear Seth moan and groan, and that would have been quite an impact on Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens jumping from at least 12, 15 feet. That looked, well, 10, 12 feet, some distance. Some reports I've seen today that Owens had already planned a similar dive before the set and everything was changed, which, to be honest, wouldn't surprise me. But this was a decent fight between the two guys. I think I picked Seth Rollins to win, and Kevin Owens is a good wrestler. I think they did it well as they could. I would have liked to have seen a really a kind of cleaner finish than that in this one. But it was a decent enough, and I kind of enjoyed what for what it was. I think this was one of the matches where I don't know. It just seemed to me that they were a little bit. I don't know if put out is the kind of phrase, but they were a little bit. Okay, our plans are going to have to change radically due to we had this plan and this plan, but we're going to have to change it. They were maybe a little bit. I don't know whether lost is the right word, but it certainly seems they had completely different plans for this match initially, and they were. I don't want to say again also scrambling to change their plans, but you could tell they were not quite doing what they wanted to do initially for this match, but it was a decent one anyway. Braun Strowman defeated Goldberg to win the WWE Universal Championship. This was obviously originally supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Goldberg, but Roman pulled out of WrestleMania because obviously he is a little bit immunocompromised, whatever the phrase is. due to obviously his fairly recent leukemia treatment. I said, obviously the rumours and reports were going that it was either going to be Big E or Braun Strowman to face Goldberg. I would have liked to have seen a bigger build up, especially after everything that, again, like I said in the predictions, about Braun Strowman being good guy, kid friendly, then being a monster, good guy, a monster, continuously changing. I would have liked to have seen some build up to his first WWE Universal Championship win. But it was quite decent. He took about 4 spears from Goldberg. I again, this I mean that no DQ match was what 17 minutes 20 seconds. This was a very short match at 2 minutes 10 seconds. Again, with a guy like Goldberg, his age and so forth, you don't. Goldberg's never been a long match expert, even when he started in WCW. So it was a very quick match. Braun Strowman, I hope, to be honest, I really hope that they put across the point that he suffered 4 spears from Goldberg and then was able to power slam Goldberg a couple of times to defeat Goldberg. I hope they put that kind of punishment that Braun Strowman suffered in this match across. Yes, it was only a 2 minute match, but 4 spears from Bill Goldberg, a Hall of Famer, Universal Champion, one of the biggest names in professional wrestling. Even to this day, let's be honest, he's a big, major name. I really do hope they put over the punishment that Braun Strowman withstood across over the next few weeks. That's what they should do, because they need to, I think, now build Braun Strowman as a bit of a monster, as the strong guy and not the kid-friendly, cheery guy that he's been. The Undertaker defeated AJ Styles, who had Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson there in a Boneyard match. That was 19 minutes, according to Wikipedia. Just a very unusual match that really needs to be viewed by people to see it. That was really, very reminiscent of. Obviously, a lot of people said like the Final Deletion or Bray Wyatt, who I'll get to, but that was. I don't know. I kind of wonder now. Was that Shaq that they used the same one that Undertaker used years ago to film those commercials where it was supposed to? It was a mystery of who it was. We just saw kind of parts of somebody's body, their boots and stuff, and then it ended up being the Undertaker coming back. I don't know whether that was the same place. Probably not, possibly not. I don't know exactly where that was, but that was a unique and cinematic presentation from WWE. In regards to The Undertaker, is that Undertaker's last match? We are seeing that WWE are presenting a limited series on the network, and I think they're starting to say that the end is near for The Undertaker. I think Taker defeated AJ Styles maybe a slightly a bit easier than he should have in this match. Again, it's one of the matches I'll have to go back and watch because I was kind of in a video group chat at the point where that match was on, so I'm going to go back and watch that. But in terms of this the Undertaker's last match, I would actually hope not. Yes, the end may be near for The Undertaker, but we've said that for how many years now? I want to see The Undertaker one last time, WrestleMania, even if it's slightly exhibition match, with maybe guys, not so much from his career, because sadly so a few of them are passed away from that he defeated on the way to building streak, etc. And obviously a lot of the generation he wrestled in the early 90s are quite old now, but I would honestly like to see, even if it's kind of an exhibition match, kind of maybe young superstars and, like I said, maybe people from Undertaker's past reappear, like $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase or something. I would like to see a build up to The Undertaker's last match. I would like to see it. We know this is Taker's last match or last appearance in WWE. We don't know, who he's going to face or what he's going to do, but this is Undertaker's last appearance at WrestleMania. This is his retirement. I would like to see that, number one, built up for months so we know this is happening. Even like I said, even if it's just some of the Japanese wrestlers have had it over the years where it's basically been an exhibition match where like guys come in and they get chopped or they get booted or whatever, and it's kind of really just like a play wrestle match, which I wouldn't be too. I would kind of I wouldn't mind the Undertaker, like I said, for some an older figure to come and Undertaker chokeslam him or take one of the young guys and tombstone him. I wouldn't mind that kind of really exhibition style from the Undertaker in the last match. Yes, putting more, the final souls he's taking with him. I wouldn't really mind that. But Undertaker's last appearance, last match would have to be built up. I want it built up, and I want there to be a crowd there. That's what I want. I want it built up, and I want a crowd there. That's what it should be. It can't. I don't want to have ended this way. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Again, I'll have to go back and watch it properly. But I enjoyed I enjoyed that Boneyard match. But Taker's somebody who needs to send off in front of a crowd. I know Taker's a guy that always does it his way. He always has, and he'll maybe do it. If we get the news that was the last year, okay, maybe Taker's chosen to do it that way. He's not a typical guy. He's been very private. Even on the Inside the Ropes tour last year, they wouldn't. Him and the contract with WWE, he didn't end up doing the Q&A portion, which is such a shame. Because I would have loved to have heard reports from that. But I think Undertaker needs even just a slight exhibition event at WrestleMania next year, and even if it has to be in front of a crowd, there has to be a crowd there, a proper audience there for Taker's last exhibition, last match, last whatever he does. Even if it's just, like I said, an exhibition thing of booting guys and tombstoning guys and chokeslamming guys in the middle of the ring where there's not really an official real match, quote unquote, takes place. Even something like that I'd be happy with, but it needs to be built up so we know the end is coming and that this is Undertaker's last ride. Again, hopefully we will not hear that it already has been through this limited series, which I'm really looking forward to. Moving on to night number 2. Because I said I enjoyed the 1 yard match, I'm going to be going back and watch it very shortly. Night 2, the pre-show, and I'm not really talking about Rob Gronkowski, so I don't really care about that. Night 2, Liv Morgan defeated Natalya in a singles match, 6 minutes 25 seconds. It was okay. Liv Morgan, first time really on the main stage of WrestleMania. I think it was, they said, something like Natalya's 7th or something event at WrestleMania. This was okay. Hopefully they'll kind of put the shine on Liv Morgan, because they are relying a little bit too much on the same faces right now in the women's division. The second match of night 2, really the first of the WrestleMania night 2, was Charlotte Flair defeating Rhea Ripley by submission for the NXT Women's Championship. That was another long match, 20 minutes 30 seconds according to Wikipedia timings. This was another one, missed opportunity. I talked earlier, missed opportunity when it comes to the women's division, I think, a little bit this year at WrestleMania. I would have actually liked to see Rhea Ripley defeat Charlotte Flair and be the Flair Slayer at WrestleMania. I would have preferred to see Rhea Ripley win this match. They're obviously building Charlotte, and I've said it for the past couple of years, they're building Charlotte to be her father, Mark II. To be kind of the female equivalent of her father, of winning probably more than 16-time championships. I don't know whether the NXT Championship counts really as a world championship in that regard, but they're obviously they're wanting to have her as so many time world champion. I think it was a missed opportunity. They could have had, maybe should have had Rhea Ripley, and there was a good match. I think Rhea Ripley, I should really talk about the match a little bit. Rhea Ripley kept selling the knee. Charlotte kept going against the knee. I don't think the commentators put as strong across as strongly as they should have that Charlotte was going for that knee for the figure 4 or the figure 8 leg lock, I think she calls it. Her bridging version. I don't think the commentators put across as much as they could have that was why Charlotte was going for the knee. I think maybe they were, or maybe they were thinking, okay, well, fans will already know that Charlotte's going for the knee continually because of that move. But a little bit of more education of that's the reason why she's going for the knee continually, I think could have been a little bit. They could have done that a little bit better. But it was, as I said, missed opportunity. Even if they had Rhea Ripley kind of abandon the NXT Women's Championship after defeating Charlotte, would have been good. And then maybe she wanted to go after the Raw Women's Championship or the SmackDown's Championship. Even if she'd have kind of abandoned NXT afterwards, that would have been good. But I don't. I think again, missed opportunity. I would have very much rather saw Rhea Ripley. Decent match. Won't it was a good match. I think. I don't think that you can be too bothered by the match really. And Charlotte kind of doing a little bit typical Charlotte Flair stuff, or vintage Charlotte Flair as Michael Cole says. But yeah, missed opportunity with Rhea Ripley. I think there. Aleister Black defeated Bobby Lashley, who was accompanied by Lana. This match was 7 minutes 20. It was an okay match. Lana caused the loss by Bobby Lashley. He had Aleister Black up for that spinning power slam that he was going to give him. But then Lashley took direction from Lana, his supposed wife, to try and do a spear, and that led Aleister Black into the blackout, I think he calls it, that spinning heel kick that he's done for so many years, which put Lashley out. This was an okay match. I've not actually seen really that much of Bobby Lashley. He actually looked quite decent. In his original run, he was terrible. I really didn't like him, but from what he showed, the little I saw from Lashley in this match, he didn't actually look too bad. He actually looked like he'd improved. Like I said, I'm glad that Aleister Black won. I think he was one I picked in the predictions. I got a few right in the predictions, but I'm glad Aleister Black won. Hope Aleister actually goes into some sort of meaningful feud and some meaningful championship opportunity upcoming in the next few weeks. But it was just a decent match. Bobby Lashley actually looked half decent in this match, and like I said, apart from that mix up the wrong instructions from Lana, which might cause trouble down the line, Bobby Lashley looked like he might win it, and as I said, he looked decent. But like I said in the prediction, I'm glad that Aleister Black won rather than Lashley. Otis defeated Dolph Ziggler, who was accompanied by Sonya Deville, and this match lasted 8 minutes and 15 seconds. Another relatively short match. I picked Otis to win in the predictions. Mandy Rose came down, slapped Sonya, she came down, she punched or slapped Sonya Deville out the way. The referee was and then pushed Sonya into the ring. Mandy then got into the ring a little bit and then low blowed Dolph Ziggler, which led to Otis landing that elbow. I think he calls it the caterpillar elbow, and defeated Dolph Ziggler. A kind of feel good moment. Wasn't too enamoured with this match. I'm not really been following this storyline hugely. A little bit of Beauty and the Beast storyline. This one, where they'll go from here. Obviously we saw Otis carrying out Mandy Rose at the end. Are they going to continue this and maybe we'll end up with a mixed tag match maybe in the future? Could very well see that, but it was an okay. It was kind of it's a bit of a comedy storyline, this one. Edge defeated Randy Orton in a last man standing match. This was a very long match. Again, according to the Wikipedia timings, 36 minutes 35 seconds, and this felt very long. I think this was slightly too long. Glad to see Edge back. If you haven't watched the Edge documentary, please watch it because it's really good. I can't remember what exact series it is. Is it another one of the Chronicle ones? Or 24/7? I can't remember exactly what it is, but or maybe it's an independent one of that. But certainly the Edge documentary is really good. I really enjoyed it. It was supposed to, like Edge says, supposed to be a catching up on him and on what he was doing, and then it very quickly turns into the story of how he manages to get back to WWE and being cleared to wrestle, and obviously his return. It ends with his return at the Royal Rumble, and an amazing story, an amazing fact that Edge was able to return at all. Certainly, and I know Randy and him are good friends, and he's put on Instagram just a while ago saying thanks to Orton for the match, which I know some people will not like, but this was a very long match. Again, another match like, which one was it? The Seth Rollins Kevin Owens match. This was another match I think was influenced by the surroundings. It was obvious. This match pretty much took us on it did take us on a tour of the Performance Centre. They battled. I said on the predictions it's a last man standing match, so we may get them wrestling, kind of, a bit all over the place, and that's exactly what happened. They literally took us on a tour of the Performance Centre. That's where it ended up. Literally all around the Performance Centre, pretty much every room, certainly on the lower floor of the Performance Centre. I mean, it would have been good maybe if they'd gone up. There's a TV room somewhere. I think that's up the stairs, but maybe that was out of bounds because that's where all the superstars may have been. So obviously they couldn't show everybody together, or I don't know how they placed each other with this current situation. But certainly a wide tour of the Performance Centre. The only better tour you can get for the Performance Centre is actually going there yourself. They don't tend to do tours, but never mind. Unless you're kind of showing around there, you will not get a better tour of the Performance Centre. A couple of good parts that I liked. Parts that I liked. That edged elbow drop when Randy Orton was on the table. He used that fencing that was on looked like the lighting thing, certainly next to the strip lighting. Edge grabbing that and then using that to kind of swing up and then drop the elbow. That was quite good. They obviously ended on top of the lorry, or the HGV, or what, I don't know what exactly Americans call it, but they ended up right on top of the trailer. I kept thinking somebody's going to look, Randy Orton a couple of times looked like he was going to slip off or slide off accidentally. Just an amazing match. Too long, in my opinion. I really thought that match could have been a bit shorter, a little bit more to the point. I think it was a very big ask for Edge. I know you could see in that documentary he really got himself into good shape, but a big ask for Edge to have that kind of match. I mean, it was perhaps even more physical than an actual normal wrestling match with all the weapons and everything that they used, and tying Edge being tied up by Orton in the gym equipment through the neck at one stage. I mean, does this mean that? I mean, obviously, does this mean in the next video game, if they do one next year, does this mean that we'll see the Performance Centre and no crowd for WrestleMania? Or what they're going to do for the next video game for WrestleMania, I don't know. But decent match should have been, I think, maybe 10 or so minutes shorter. I really do think that could have been maybe 10 or so minutes, a bit shorter than it was. But good performance by both guys. It wasn't. That's basically all I can say, really. It was a good performance by both guys. They put a lot of effort into it. The Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, defeated Angel Garza and Austin Theory, accompanied by Selena Vega for the Tag Team Championship. This was another match I didn't really because of the timing of it, was away doing something else. Didn't hugely watch, but I mean, it was from what I saw, it was okay. Like I said, I think I picked the Street Profits to win, because I want to see Andrade and Angel Garza take the tag titles. Uh, it was kind of okay, that ending with Bianca Belair and Selena Vega getting into it. I don't know whether I really like that. It looks like they're going to put Bianca Belair with the Street Profits. I know one of them is her husband. It kind of very reminiscent of the Usos and Naomi, which we've kind of seen before. So I'm not too sure whether that's really the right way to go down, but that looks like what they're going to be doing. But it was decent, a decent match, and I actually liked. I'm sure it was the WrestleMania. I'm sure it was one point, but I liked it. Certainly, at one point, the Street Profits did a promo, and I think I don't know which one, the thinner one, I think he has got some capabilities in speaking and promo terms. I think he could be a good promo guy in the future. He sounded decent, maybe in rehearsed, maybe been scripted, but I kind of liked the way he was delivering that promo. So that's kind of my thoughts on that one. Because I'm going a long time already in this kind of audio podcast style one. Bayley defeated Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina in the 5-way elimination match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. I will not call it a fatal 5-way because that was not a fatal 5-way. A fatal match in terms of professional wrestling is where one submission or one pinfall decides the winner, where you have multiple people involved. So you have 4 people, 5 people, 6 people, however many, but yet one pinfall, one submission ends the match, whether the champion is involved or not, if it's a championship match. That's a fatal match in professional wrestling. This was not a fatal 5-way elimination match. This was a 5-way elimination match. In terms of the match itself, the women put on a great performance. I liked that. Tamina, I think that was a bit too stereotypical for eliminating her. Everybody ganging up on her. Her career has never really been great in WWE. I think it was a bit too stereotypical of them all ganging up on her and all jumping on her and for the pinfall to eliminate her for Tamina. I think that was a bit too stereotypical. They could have, I think they should have had her kind of fight, and maybe even if they want to do a big woman kind of feel to her elimination, have her exhaust herself after fighting continuously over everybody. They put her over strong before WrestleMania a little bit from what I've seen, but it was just a bit of too stereotypical. Oh well, let's get the giant slash plus size competitor out of this match as quickly as we can. That was a little bit, yeah. I did pick Lacey Evans for this match, and she came very, very close to winning it. Sasha Banks helped Bayley, obviously, with the backcracker thing, to defeat Lacey Evans. Again, we are obviously heading to a Sasha Banks Naomi match for the SmackDown Women's Championship at some point in the near future. I don't know whether it be Money in the Bank, which I believe is the next pay-per-view, or whenever, but that's obviously the way it's going down. I mean, I would think it was a bit obvious from the interview that Sasha did beforehand, where Bayley had been there and Bayley had said her piece and wandered off. I think it's fairly obvious we are going for a Sasha Banks Bayley match in the future over the championship. Again, that's probably WWE's plan, so that's why Lacey Evans didn't win the title. But I would like to see Lacey Evans actually get the title relatively soon, even if it's Bayley and Sasha Banks maybe cost both each other the championship, and that's how the feud develops. That's how the battle between those two arises. Who knows? But certainly, I want Lacey Evans to win it, and I think she was very unlucky in this case to be defeated by Bayley, who also has said retained the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship in that 5-way elimination match. not a fatal match in any way. This match, the Firefly Funhouse. Oh, we could have some fun with this. This Firefly Funhouse match. That was a trip, wasn't it? That was something that literally people will have been watching, and the thoughts will have been WTF about exactly what was going on there. That was a trip. It was like, I mean, this wasn't really a match. Absolutely no way it was a match. In terms of an actual wrestling match. This was really like a kind of almost like a showcase mode from one of the 2K WWE video games, going through John Cena's career and Bray Wyatt's career. That's exactly what it was. It was like I think I tweeted, I put it on Facebook or tweeted it something. I put it on social media anyway. It's like a showcase mode in a 2K game brought to life. Very, very unusual. Absolutely unusual. Cena back to the prototype outfit, whether it was an original one or one probably specifically made for this. This whole video presentation of it was just unique. Again, it's something I will have to just go back and re-watch. The whole 13 minutes or so of it. This was absolutely unique as heck. It was really good the way they did it. Even if I'm not too sure what to make of it, because like I said, I've only watched it once, but and it was a bit trippy. It was a bit, kind of on substances kind of thing. But it was very well done for what it was. It was really well done. It was really well presented. A couple of unusual moves like the NWO piece, that was very unexpected. To show the old style of Bray Wyatt, a lot of work and production had gone into the Firefly Funhouse. I can't really use the term on YouTube of what it said on it. That was good. Bleep bleep or bleep. I can't really say that on YouTube, but that was certainly very well done for what it was. It was really well done. All credit to those involved. As I said, said in the prediction said before, WrestleMania 36 a very unusual situation, and certainly this was without a doubt one of the most unique events. Like I said, you can't really call it a match that I think we'll ever see. I have to say this change in Bray Wyatt from going from. I mean, I got a couple of obviously in jokes with you can look but you can't touch, which is a Bella Twins intro thing. What else was there? Was a couple of kind of in jokes. I probably missed a couple. Probably a couple went by me because it seemed to be a few in jokes in this one. But absolutely, really a very unusual presentation. I said you'll never get anything like that again. Even seeing old style Bray Wyatt, that was a good touch. It's an amazing change from what even the Husky Harris reference, from seeing Husky Harris in the original days of NXT when it was a game show to what Bray Wyatt is now. Just absolutely unbelievable. Just and fantastic. I mean, for what it was and the way it was done, that was good. But yeah, trippy as heck, like a 2K showcase come to life, and certainly Firefly Funhouse, if they intended it to be memorable, they did it. They achieved their goal. If their goal was singularly to just make it memorable so that people will rewatch it, I think they absolutely did that. The final match of the night, Drew McIntyre defeating Brock Lesnar, who was accompanied by Paul Heyman, for the WWE Championship. This was genuinely a match, I think the match that I had the most interest of right across WrestleMania. This was the match that I was really, really wanting to see. This was a match where I was second guessing myself. I was second guessing myself into terms of will Drew win it. A lot of the build up to this through the different documentaries like the Royal Rumble Day of, the Chronicle of Drew McIntyre, all of that stuff, and all the focus on WWE TV, Raws and SmackDowns, were all about Drew McIntyre and his win at the Royal Rumble, which first Scotsman to win the Royal Rumble, amazing. To I was second guessing whether he would actually win. I honestly was, because sometimes in WWE they will push down the path that they're going, even if it's kind of rumoured or leaked that is what they're doing. WWE will go down that path anyway. They'll just be stubborn and say, right, this is what we've decided to do. Everybody knows what we're doing, but we're sticking to it anyway. Other times, WWE will pivot and they will say, right, everybody thinks we're doing A to B, we're going to go C to O. We're going to go a completely different path, or just slightly different path, but we're changing what we're doing. That is what they do sometimes. So I was even second guessing myself to this match. What are they going to do? Are they going to give Drew his moment? Is Drew going to win the WWE Championship or not? That's my honestly. That's what I was thinking. The last few days, the last couple of weeks, will we see Drew win? Will he genuinely walk out the WWE champion? I'm glad to see that he did. After a very short match, about 4 minutes 35 seconds according to the Wikipedia timings. Very short match. Claymore kicked Brock Lesnar several times. It was to be honest, especially with the likes of their Edge Orton match, according to the times on the WWE Network, each night was scheduled for 3 hours, and night 2 was the one that went over. That lasted roughly about 3 hours 20 minutes or so. I think it was maybe just under. But it was obvious going into, especially the when after the SmackDown Women's Championship match, it was obvious that they were going to be running over, because we still had the Fiend Bray Wyatt Cena match and McIntyre Lesnar match to go, and I was starting to think then, okay, Lesnar match is going to be short. I think it's going to be a relatively quick match, because it looks like they're going to be running over. Not that, a friend of mine obviously said it's the network, they can go as long as they want, but they're also on pay-per-view and other providers as well. So I thought it was fairly obvious this was going to be a relatively short match. I didn't think it would be as short as it was. I didn't think it would be just under 5 minutes, but that's what it was. Like I said, I wasn't too sure that Drew would actually win the WWE Championship. Second guessing it, but thankfully he did. We've all seen the journey that Drew has been on since. Like I said, I became a fan of his just a few short months before he signed with WWE. When he came back to Scotland after being released, and as the story is told in the Chronicle, which is a great episode, and I would also say go watch the Edge documentary as well. That's a great documentary. I want to talk about the WWE Network in a couple of days, overall about the network and about what I think of the WWE Network and the potential and what they're doing with it. I'll talk about that in a few days. But Drew McIntyre winning the WWE Championship, becoming the first Scottish WWE champion, is an amazing achievement. Scotland has a long and proud history of professional wrestling, from the likes of George Kidd, Andy Robbins and Hercules, the Highlander Drew McDonald, to all of the guys whose names I never knew, who wrestled years and years ago in the World of Sport days, and all the Scotsmen there, and to even to all of the wrestlers, male, female, or whatever, that put on shows the length and breadth of Scotland these days. Scotland's continuing the long and proud tradition of some great wrestlers, and Drew McIntyre is just the latest of that. And regardless of whatever you think of championships, about them being props and storyline devices, or whether basically kind of Oscars, acting awards, or whatever, To hold the WWE Championship is the major achievement in professional wrestling. To hold the main heavyweight championship, women aside, to hold the main heavyweight championship of the biggest wrestling company in the world. You cannot get higher than that. You cannot get bigger than that. And for Drew, it's strange. Strange days we are living in, indeed, my friend. Strange days, indeed. I think the quote's something like that. Strange days, my friend, indeed, or whatever the quote is from an old movie. It's strange days, and if I was a Scotsman, to sit here recording this audio in my room and as having a Scotsman as WWE champion, genuinely did not think we'd ever see that. There's so many things in this world we never thought we'd see, and so many strange occurrences, but to have a Scotsman as WWE champion, like I said before, he came back to Scotland fairly broken. He was very low on confidence. I've told the story before about how a friend of mine who knows him, kind of, was talking to him, and he was saying, "Yeah, oh yeah, I'm in the show in Dundee, the ICW show. I'm not going to get a great reception there." It was just when he'd just come back. This was how low in confidence he was. Again, I was told this before, that he thought he would get a polite response from the Dundee fans, but he got a great response from not only the Dundee fans, but all the other ICW shows, all the other shows that he did in Scotland, which hopefully help boost, or at least start boosting his confidence. Like they were saying, he left WWE a boy, he returned as a man, and the position he is in now is incredible. Really happy to see again a Scotsman. The first so-called British WWE champion is a Scotsman, as I never considered myself British at all. So I'm kind of happy in this, but for Drew McIntyre, a Scotsman, to be WWE champion, it's something incredible. He deserves it after all the work. I'm not trying to even claim. Obviously, I'm not trying to claim that. Oh yeah, we the fans put in all the hard work for him. He's putting in hell of hard work, more hard work than I think a lot of people will realise. The schedule he does, especially he talks about on the Chronicle episode, that if you haven't watched it, go and watch it, because you hear about his journey, and it's really a good insight also into the current situation and about how plans changed for him slightly. But yeah, Drew McIntyre deserves his WWE Championship that he has. He deserves every bit of success that he's having, and I look forward to the day. Probably won't be there myself, but I look forward to the day where Scotland can welcome him back. Whether he's still WWE champion or not when he comes home, because I don't think he'll be allowed to come home right now. I think I'm not sure what the status of any events WWE are supposed to be holding in Scotland, because they normally do the UK tours kind of after Mania and then maybe round about Survivor Series time. I don't know when he'll be welcome home, but certainly we will give him a great reception, whether he's WWE champion still then or not. I hope he holds it for several months. I really do hope. I hope he holds on to it for quite a while. He deserves it. Very happy. That was the match I was looking forward to. That's the match I had an interest in. Yeah, okay, it's because he's Scottish. Met him a couple of times. Never heard anything but good words from him. Actually, I was actually on a flight with him. 2013, I think it was. Roughly, was it 2013 or 2016? One of the times anyway, we were going to New York. He'd wrestled in Dundee that weekend for the SWE Hell for Lycra 13, so I don't know what. Anyway, certainly ended up just on the same flight, not even near him. He was way in front of us. It was just something we noticed. But the guy's putting on the air miles, the hours on flights, the travel time, everything like that. He deserves the success he's had. I'm really happy to see a Scotsman on top of the WWE as WWE champion. Congratulations to Drew. Very quickly before I wrap this up, I will say I again, people will pick up WrestleMania. People will pick up WrestleMania 36 from now until Kingdom Come. They will pick up on it. They will look at it under a microscope, like I said before. People will pick apart WrestleMania. Overall, I think they did do well. I think it was a decent WrestleMania. There was some good performances, some good matches. WWE and the performers especially had their backs to the wall in terms of what they could do, the situation that they're in regards to how they filmed this, how they put the matches together, the conditions that they were under. So what they did to put on a WrestleMania like this was really good. I think they did pretty much as well as could be expected. It didn't feel too much like a WrestleMania because of all the changes. I think partly because of the change, so many of the changes were very quick and sudden with the whole situation developing. I think that's part of it. That's part of why it didn't really feel like WrestleMania. It honestly didn't feel like WrestleMania weekend to me because all the related events like Hall of Fame, etc., didn't happen, and it was a completely different feel to the weekend. We can't go over that. We can't get past that, really. But for what it was, I think they all put in a lot of hard work to entertain us, to take our minds off the situation, and to genuinely make it what they could. They did it, I think. I don't think again, over the next few weeks and months, people will go back and watch WrestleMania, myself included. Um, it was, they did the best, absolute best in circumstance. I don't think it was too bad a show. I didn't hear a lot of calling spots. I didn't see really a lot of screw ups either. There may be one or two that people will pick out, but I felt that all the superstars, male, female, referees, production crew, they all put in hard work, and I think WrestleMania 36 under circumstances was about as good, if not even better than what it could have been. So all hats off to everybody that was involved in WrestleMania 36. I enjoyed it. I'll be going back and watching it over the next week or so, depending on what things I'm going to do. But got a few creative projects I want to kind of start doing to try and keep myself busy right now. But absolutely, WrestleMania 36 is going to be, like I said, one of the most unique WrestleManias of all time. It's going to be remembered that way. It's going to be looked at that way. But like I said, hats off to everybody involved. It was a pretty good WrestleMania, and I look forward to seeing where WWE goes in the future. Hopefully, once all of this stuff is done with and we can get back to normalcy, then we can kick it back into high gear, and all the wrestling shows, independent and otherwise, can go on. But absolutely, you know what? For what it was, WrestleMania 36 was pretty damn good.